Our next presenter is John Scully, the very distinguished chairman and CEO of Apple Computers, formerly president and CEO of Pepsi-Cola, and I might add, I believe, a registered Republican. I'm glad to have him here, and I want to say a special word of thanks before John begins to talk for the incredible help we received from the Apple people on the graphics that all of us are benefiting from. Some of their people have not slept in the last 2 days, so I want to tell you, John, the folks that you sent to Little Rock did a great job, and they need a couple of days off after this conference is over. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Governor Clinton, for the opportunity to bring us together to talk about some of these important structural changes. I believe that we're at a turning point in the world economy today, not unlike what we saw at the time we had a transformation from the agricultural economy in the 19th century to the industrial economy that we've had for most of this century. Now, the hallmark of this industrial economy has been mass production and mass consumption. And the mass production, mass consumption model was pioneered in the early 20th century by Frederick Taylor, who was an industrial engineer, and Henry Ford. And the model that they chose assumed that decisions would be centralized and that a small managerial elite would be managing those decisions. They broke thinking apart from the doing, and work was broken down into repetitive tasks, and they consciously eliminated much of the decision-making from the jobs of the workers. Quality was defined around rigid standardization, and there was little flexibility in the work process. But perhaps the biggest change in this decade is going to be the reorganization of work itself. Now, this means the re-engineering of the way that work actually gets done to be more productive in the new economy. But there's a major problem, and that is that most Americans don't know what this new economy is, and they don't realize how much of an impact it's going to have on their lives in the years ahead. Now, today we measure economic health in terms of comparisons like GDP growth and unemployment rates, but in the new global economy, the key indicator is going to be standard of living. And that's measured by external measurements like productivity rates, as we've heard Dr. Solo talk about just a few moments ago. Our high standard of living requires that we have a higher standard of living than others in the world, and we are still ahead, but we're losing ground. Our real income is down, and it's only the people who are better educated with higher incomes that have been able to hold their own. In this new economy, that old industrial model is being replaced by a rapid move towards the customization of goods and services and the decentralization of work. Today, new products can be put together in much less time than it took in the past. We're seeing that it's possible to even custom build to order. The quality is dramatically improving, costs are going down, and a lot of this is because of the use of new technologies, everything from computer systems to robotics to measurement systems. The new economy is also a global economy, and it's one which depends on high skills. Workers on the front line are interacting with customers. We're seeing workers on the factory floor. They're being empowered to make decisions. In fact, this is the only way that you can get customized goods and services created quickly with the highest quality, the lowest cost, and the maximum amount of flexibility. In the old economy, America had a real advantage because we were rich with natural resources. We had a large domestic marketplace, and this gave us the basis for economies of scale. In this new economy, the strategic resources are no longer just the ones that come out of the ground like oil and wheat and coal, but they are ideas and information that come out of our mind. The result is that as a nation, we have gone from being resource rich to resource poor almost overnight. And that's because our public education system has not successfully made the shift from a system that focused on memorizing facts to one that has to move towards achieving the learning of critical thinking skills. We're still trapped in a K-12 public education system which is preparing our young people for jobs that just don't exist anymore. This new economy is also a global economy, and yet America is no longer alone at the top. In fact, the United States is underprepared to compete with many other industrialized trading regions around the world. Students in other industrialized countries are learning math, they're learning science, they're learning critical judgment skills that are more relevant to this new economy. Other industrialized countries have an alternative path for the non-college bound, including vocational study and school-to-work transition that's linked to apprenticeships and worker training. Now, in America, we have few alternatives for the non-college bound students so that they can participate productively in the high-skilled work of this new economy. But the greatest uncertainty about the new economy is, or certainty about the new economy, is the pace of change. We know that people are going to have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 different careers during their working lifetime. We know that the skills are going to constantly need to be upgraded. Education, therefore, must become a lifelong pursuit, not just an institutional experience early in one's life, but education, training, retraining must become as much a part of one's experience in our lives as exercise and vacations are today. Now, most Americans see our largest corporations going through massive restructuring, layoffs, and downsizing, and people know that something has changed, and they're scared because they don't fully understand it, and they see people that they know personally losing their jobs. They also see their neighbors buying high-quality, lower-priced products from abroad, and they ask, why can't we build these same products or better ones here at home? And the answer is that we can, but only if we have a public education system that will turn out a world-class product. We need an education system that will educate all of our students, not just the top 15 or 20%. A highly skilled workforce must begin with a world-class education system because eventually the new economy will touch every industry in our nation. There is no place to hide. In this new economy, low-skilled manual work will be paid less. The United States cannot afford, therefore, to have the high-skilled work being done somewhere else in the world and us ending up with just the low-wage work. Now, this is not an issue about protectionism. It's an issue about an education system that's aligned with the new economy and a broad educational opportunity open to everyone. I believe that the reorganization of work into decentralized, higher-skilled jobs is the systemic key to a vital American economy in the future. And we're talking about standard of living that we and our children and our children's children are going to be looking forward to in the 21st century. So it's America's choice. Do we want high skills or do we want low wages?